The Dani Moonstar buff came in this week's update, and it came with 2 changes to her kit, both of which I'm very happy with, and I'll go ahead and break down right here and then show some gameplay. Firstly, the SP1 slow was increased from 20 seconds to 24 seconds. This is actually a big deal. 4 seconds you might think is just like, okay, it's an extra 4 seconds, that's really not too big a difference. It only got like an extra 20% increase at that point. But what this actually does help a lot with is just, a slow is something that most of the times when you want it, you want to have 100% uptime on it. So if it's going to be longer, then you're going to have more uptime on it and more opportunities to spam the SP1 or do your SP1 into SP2 rotation, which I do find myself using very often with Dani. The second changed aspect is something with her neural arrows, and you can see the text at the bottom says against skill champions, neuros are inflicted on special activation instead of on the last hit like against other classes. And the reason this is impactful is mainly because now this makes her better against Nick Fury. The problem with Dani versus Nick sometimes is that you'd kill him before the last hit of your special attack, and then those neuros won't prevent his second life like they're supposed to. But now that they're on special activation, you don't have to worry about the special killing too early. The second extra little bonus is just a really simple one. You have your damage over time starting 3 to 4 seconds earlier, which isn't that big a deal, but it is a nice little damage increase that you do get to access earlier. So here I'm going to show a fight against this Vin the Duck here. This is basically what a 7-star rank 1 defender would be in Battlegrounds, at least very close to that. And we're just going to see how long it takes from after I throw my SP1 to get to my SP2 and see if we can have that 100% slow uptime. So what we're going to do here is just try to get the slow on this SP1. I did mess up a little bit with how I comboed him, but it's alright. What we want to do now is race to our SP2 and hopefully throw it with our 5 neural arrows and 5 prowess before the slow falls off. So you're going to see if we can do that, and we're going to have to bait his special attacks along the way, obviously, but here we're just going to go for the kill shot right now. What I need here is to get 5 hits to get the 5 neural arrows, and as you can see, we did get to the SP2 just before the slow fell off. So what that means is that increase actually did help us get the SP2 off before the slow fell off much easier, because you don't have to worry as much about it falling off too early. So that is definitely nice. Like I said, with slow, it's something that you do want as much uptime on as possible when you want to use it to prevent unstoppable and evade. And so next up, this fight is going to be against my buddy's rank 5 Ascended Kingpin. This is in the Victory Track Battlegrounds meta. This is the only way you can play Dani versus this meta is if you find a defender that can Purify Stun, because then you can use the Awaken ability that she has to trigger Nero Shocks. This is unfortunately the only way that you can play Dani this meta, just because she has no other way to gain power. But, I didn't have that many options to find Battlegrounds fights, so it was just working with what I had. So you can see there, the slow prevented the unstoppable, and we're just going to go for another SP1, place another Nero Shock, get our power gain going and stuff like that. And yeah, so that's the end of this KP. Not really much to show there based off of like her actual buff, but it was a nice inclusion to the video. Next up is going to be against this Korg. This Korg has 180,000 health, and he has Buffet, so he's going to actually be regenning a lot more than we'd like. But we're going to try to test out how the slow works. I'm not entirely sure if this rotation went exactly like how it should, but we'll commentate over it as we get there. With Korg, you do have to make sure that you want to get your light attacks, because Dani's hits are not energy damage dealing, meaning you can still take Thorns damage, but with your Falter, you can get easy light intercepts, so it's not as difficult. I didn't mean to throw my SP2 here, as you're going to see. I did mess up, but you're going to at least see how big the damage of the SP2 is, which is always really fun to watch. So we're going to throw it once we get 4 more hits in our combo. So yeah, really this fight is just showing off what Dani's damage can look like. This Korg has extra energy resist, it has Buffet, but when you can get the crit RNG with that Gamut Relic, we didn't even get all the crits there, and we just completely wiped him out. It was so great. And the last thing I will showcase is against Nick, like I was talking about earlier. I can't really showcase this properly because Nick is actually bugged right now, where he is purifying passives that reapply on him. This is not intended. It's the same thing with Toad. When Toad's Toad's poisons get purified, they replace themselves with passives, but those passives are getting purified, just like Dani's Neuroshocks are going to. It is a bug on Nick's end and not on Dani's end. Like you can see there, we should have stopped his healing, we should have stopped his second life, but Nick is bugged right now. So it is unfortunate we had to deal with that, but that's all you would have needed to do, is just get your Neuroshocks up and push him to second life, and the second life just won't trigger. So, yeah. Again, you trigger the Neuroshocks on special activation now, so you don't have to worry about killing Nick too early, and that was one of the big benefits of that tune-up. So anyway, Dani Moonstar, like I said in this title, I think her buff was small but very impactful to what she needed. She didn't need a lot, she didn't get a lot, but she's still a great champion the way she is, and I'm definitely happy with how she turned out. So anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the video.